T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Own it, own it, own it, Kong. I own it. It did.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
Woo! Y'all, we're gonna try and make this quick. So if you in the chat, you better hop in, put all your comments in, because it was a long day, a long night. Welcome to Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. We are gonna go through NXT, Worlds Collide, and All Out, AEW All Out. I know we brave, but they're both on same day. So how would we just not talk about both? But I'm not alone. Thank you, Jesus. We have Blue and Professor Bonner in the building. How y'all doing?
What's going on? What's going on?
Hey.
And I'm
Fun times.
Listen.
Okay, Kane has started hopping in soon. Woo. Well, let's get into you. Well, first off, how did you like the whole day of wrestling?
You mean the whole weekend of wrestling? Like, this is
That true.
There was some indie shows yesterday between GCW and some other shows. I know that Effie had his big gay brunch today, and it was just a whole weekend of wrestling, and it felt kind of like a WrestleMania weekend type situation, to be honest with you. I was just surprised to see that WWE actually ran something this weekend, as there's supposed to be like an all-out weekend, but it was very tiresome.
Is it tiresome because you have a huge family, or is it tiresome because you were trying to do that and watch wrestling?
Nah, I think it was tiresome in general. I seen people like complaining on Twitter, like, "Oh my gosh, this is so much wrestling in one weekend," and and like I hang in there. I think I took a brief nap yesterday during Clash at the Castle, and then today I actually did pretty well. Even though it was I didn't watch NXT. I was out doing some errands, but that AEW shows are always long, so it trains us for it.
Yeah, for some reason I think I forgot how long it was. Like, I think probably a quarter of the way through, I'm like, all right, and I'm looking at the time because I literally scheduled a post for 8:30, and you were right. You're right. You said 9 o'clock, and I'm like, no, it can't be 9 o'clock. This thing started at like 4. No. So.
Yeah, AEW is going to give you a 5-hour show. That's going to happen.
I don't know.
But
why.
yeah, I
mean, because they have 4 or 5 shows. They have 4 or 5 shows a year, so they
however, no. I don't think that's justified. I think that's an excuse. They don't have to. They don't have to do a 5-hour show. They really don't.
It's technically 4.
Necessary.
It's like an hour pre-show and then 4 hours.
No. This pre-show was full of matches. It was an hour full of matches. It was a 5-hour show. So, I mean, in the past, they've done, vignettes and promos, and then they give you 1 or 2 matches. But this was chock full of matches. So, it's a 5-hour show. I'm not cutting them out.
There is some, I'm like looking over the list again. There is definitely some matches that, and one of them I want, and we'll get into it. One of them I wanted to happen, but like just looking at it and looking at the result, we could have just did without it. Shout out to Boza in the chat. I know you're going to come through with our stats.
Of course,
so let's get into it. We are doing NXT first. Woo. What do you guys think of Worlds Collides first off?
So for me, this was the event that I was most excited about all weekend long. Obviously, there was the Clash. There was obviously All Out. But for me, NXT has always had a super soft spot. And the idea that we were going to see NXT versus NXT UK merging championships and then seeing SmackDown and Raw involved as well was amazing. The match to kick it off, Ricochet and Carmelo Hayes. Let me tell you something, guys. I know we saw a lot of wrestling all weekend. This match right here, I mean, you obviously had the Gunther and Sheamus match that everybody's talking about yesterday. But this one here, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this match rivals the Ricochet Ospreay match from several years back that really put all of them on the map. It was that kind of a match. It was ridiculous that this match was happening in NXT at the Performance Center. It was unbelievable. This was a Mania caliber match. This is probably the stuff that All Elite would have absolutely gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs over. This was the match. I mean, I can't say enough about it. And to me, everybody's asking who's left for Roman. I'm asking who's left for Carmelo Hayes. Because the show he put on with Ricochet, who is going to stop this guy? Who is going? Because this wasn't Ricochet from. Yeah, I'm telling you, Carmelo Hayes proved himself. This match here, just amazing, absolutely amazing. What an amazing way to kick off Worlds Collide.
And also shout out to our senior editor-in-chief, our senior writer and our editor-in-chief in the chat, Nikki and Santana in the building as well. What did you think of the match, Blue? Or actually, say the winner of the match. What do you think of the winner of the match? Let's do that.
To me, I feel like at the end of the day, Carmelo deserves way more than what's given to him. When he had the briefcase, basically the Money in the Bank briefcase, I always said he should have went for the heavyweight title. I didn't understand why they just put him to the North American, and even when he won the North American again, I feel like he's more over than Braun at this point. I feel like Braun Breaker has reached his goal, his point where everybody's like just over it and just waiting to see what's next. And Melo just keep going higher and higher and higher, and he can't miss. Like he says, like he should have been the heavyweight champion at this point. And I'm interested to see what route they go with him. I'm gonna watch this match because I love Ricochet's style and Melo's style, and I know that they gave it. They're all in the ring. I just don't like the idea. Like I don't know. For me, I feel like Raw and SmackDown should have been away from this in a sense because it kind of hurts their stock in a way. Because do you really think they're gonna win it? But I'm interested to see this match because this is probably one of my dream matches that I would love to watch. But yeah, definitely Melo winning makes completely sense to me.
Yep, and we have somebody in the building. The man with the master plan.
Wizzy.
Kane McCoy in the house.
Sorry, I was
I
was listening to my voicemail from Tony Khan. He left me a voicemail, so I had to listen to it real quick to see what he was talking about. Apologies for the delay.
Here we go. There we go.
Starting already?
Yes.
Off the rip, clearly. Yes.
Just in the protection of time, especially for my East Coasters, we're gonna go on to the next match, which was the Fatal 4-Way, the elimination match for the unified NXT and NXT UK Tag Team Champions. So what did you guys think of this match?
I thought it was a great match. Coming into this whole thing, the big thing I was wondering is, were they going to allow all of the NXT folks to win these championships, or were the UK folks going to actually get a shot? So the fact that Pretty Deadly walks out of here as the unified tag champions actually makes me happy. I would have preferred Gallus, but I wanted NXT UK to get some love. But the big story coming out of this is Damon Kemp turning on Diamond Mine. It was expertly done. And, you know, we just had a conversation Friday on WWT Live about Gable Steveson versus his brother Damon Kemp. And Damon Kemp just, oh my Lord. I mean, where Damon Kemp goes from here. He took off the Diamond Mine shirt. So I don't know if this means he's leaving Diamond Mine, if he's going to pursue some things on his own. But it's just another great weekend for someone from NXT to make a move that's got everybody talking, from Solo Sikoa yesterday to what Damon is doing today. I didn't see this one coming, and this made this super, super special for this tag title match.
Kane?
Absolutely an amazing swerve. We thought it was Roderick Strong. Had been teased forever and ever that it was Roddy causing the dissension. Remember, they watched the videotape. They were in the dungeon watching the tape, and all signs pointed to Roderick Strong. But it was Damon Kemp the whole time. And we spoke about this on Friday, to your point, G, that they've been parading around the wrong Stevenson brother. They're, parading around Gable Stevenson, who they're kind of code on. And, Bobby Stevenson, a.k.a., Damon Kemp, has been the star the whole time, well executed. And I don't think Damon Kemp was the one who even put hands on Roderick Strong in the parking lot. I think he was the lookout at somebody else who's going to make his return swimmingly, if you will.
I see where you're going.
To NXT.
I see where you're going.
And I think it's one of those things.
Blue, your face is like everything.
I'm confused.
I see exactly where you're going, King.
It's clear that Blue has a shellfish allergy, obviously. But what I was going to say is, it's the fact that Damon Kemp is looking for a bigger fish in the pond to deal with Roderick Strong. And that will be the return of one Bobby Fish. Bobby Fish and Damon Kemp team up, because we think it's going to be Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong returning, but it's like I think they're going to flip it and maybe team Bobby Fish up with Damon Kemp to maybe take on Roderick Strong and the rest of Diamond Mine. Maybe add a third person, who knows? But I'm interested because now it's kind of like, we have more questions than answers, which I really enjoy. But big shouts to Pretty Deadly. I love Lash Legend with them. It was almost like, why didn't this happen sooner? It actually makes all the sense in the world. So shouts to Pretty Deadly. I think it was the right move to put the titles on them. And we'll find out that they will only be the only UK alums to actually go home with gold.
That part. And just to be nosy, Kane, your background looks different. Where you at?
Sure does.
I am in undisclosed locations.
I knew it. He's in parts unknown.
He's on assignment.
Yeah, he's on assignment, all right.
Yeah.
TBA. Oh boy. So next match, which was actually a really great match as well. This, I think we all expected it. Triple threat match to unify the NXT and NXT UK Women's Championship. Obviously, Mandy Rose came out on top. Did anybody expect Mandy Rose not to be on top?
My heart wanted Mako Satomura. Or even Blair Davenport. I thought this was going to be the out to get Mandy to the main roster. That's what I thought. Now the way it happened was pretty safe. It protected Mako, which I thought was dope. Blair took the fall, and it ended up being actually a really strong match for everybody involved. I think we're getting to the point where we have to put some respect on Mandy Rose's name. She is not just a pretty face. She held her own in this match and was incredibly impressive. You almost forget this is the same person who was in vignettes as the girlfriend of Otis. Yeah.
That's right.
Exactly. Yeah. So impressive stuff. Great match.
To your point, I would prefer them would have did the swerve. Only because when you add a third person into matches like this, it's usually a give and tell of who's going to take the pin, and it's just a matter of who's going to win the match at this point. I haven't really watched 2.0, but with Mandy, I was hoping the same thing, that she goes up top. I mean, if they're going to bring Toxic Attraction, her two running mates, to the main roster, I would think that she would follow behind and let them all three come together. So that's an interesting choice as well for Mandy to win the UK, unify the titles in that sense.
Well, I think it's one of those things where we're seeing the rose has fully bloomed because she just won a triple threat
Are we gonna
match.
do this all night? We gonna do this all
night.
night?
Oh,
All night.
something to keep us up. It's going to keep the blood flowing. Because we see that she just won a triple threat without the assistance of Toxic Attraction. She did this like without Toxic Attraction. We obviously know why Blair Davenport was now in the match to be able to take the fall. Does this lead to something with Mako one-on-one being on the main roster, or does she simply focus on NXT Europe? But that's going to be interesting to see what goes down with everything. And I think what we've seen with WWE, if Gigi and JC get called to the main roster, they're still going to be associated with Mandy Rose because now we're seeing the whole universe, the entire WWE universe going across, and we're acknowledging things. Again, we saw Giovanni Vinci return to make his debut on the main roster with Imperium. So we're acknowledging that we saw with our own eyes what's going on. So them will always be the homegirl. Size attraction will always be a thing, but I think you're going to see Mandy Rose more dominate NXT women's division and Gigi and JC go up to the main roster as a tag team or bounce back and forth.
Yeah, well, that would be good if they bounce back and forth. I feel like if they do go up to the main roster, it'd be a short time for Mandy to join them. However, now that I say that, would it be a short time now that she's a unified champion? Like, I feel like she has to be in NXT for longer to just, establish her dominance.
I mean, it's one of those things that like the UK titles are no longer around. It's unified. She'll just be known as the champion until they get the European titles and do the next Worlds Collide. But this is Mandy's show, and I think that again they're going to have to, now that Nikita is healthy, they're going to revisit that because obviously I believe that Nikita was going to win the tournament before her injury. So now it's time to go back and revisit that.
Well, bravo for Mandy Rose. We're gonna go on to the next match, the NXT Women's Tag Team tag title match. Excuse me. So it's hard when you have all these pages. Jesus. What do you guys think of this match?
Well, I'll say this: there was a part of me, I don't know, for all that Dewdrop and Nikki Cross could do, there was a part of me that wanted to see them win this. I wanted to see them win this, if for nothing else, so that they could finally get a win. But obviously that didn't happen. But the way it happened was what was super interesting to see Toxic Attraction come down, which says to me that Toxic Attraction is not done with NXT. That's the thing. They're going to be around. And part of me feels like this was almost a hard reset of sorts. For NXT, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But with all of that said, I think, I shouldn't say unfortunately, that's not fair. I think the women's tag champions had to win this match. They needed to be able to show that they are on a completely different level at this point. And granted, this is not like the strongest team from Raw, but physically this team should dominate them. So having Toxic Attraction come in and do what they did made sense. I think it all made sense. And again, I don't think any of us thought that Dewdrop and Nikki would be taking those titles to Raw. So, yeah, great win for the tag champs.
Bosa coming through with the facts like he always does today. Marked day 314 for Mandy. She's the third longest women's champion in history. Second to Shayna Baszler at 416. Mandy would have to hold on until Rumble to pass Shayna. So,
and she'd need another 100 and some odd days to past that to hit Asuka. And I definitely think that they're trying to push her as far as they can. So I definitely think she'll be there long enough to pass Shayna. Will she pass Asuka? I don't know, because we're talking WrestleMania at that point.
I thought the Toxic Attraction run-in was cool, and it also made me feel kind of about it, because technically speaking, Toxic Attraction could still be champions. This match could have easily been, Toxic Attraction against, Katie Nicotana, or Toxic Attraction.
But old girl had the concussion
and Dewdrop. Well, I mean, she took a bump today, so
yeah, so she's probably cleared now. So
yeah, they took some bumps today. Yes, all of the NXT UK titles are retired. They've been unified. They are no more. The lineage is over. But I saw the match and I was kind of like, okay, ho hum. I mean, it wasn't that for the whole card. It was very hard to follow Carmelo Hayes and Ricochet. You know, I texted my homie, shouts to my guy Jax, who was at the show tonight, who was down in Orlando watching it. You know, he texted me immediately after, and I was like, yeah, man, I can only imagine how it felt inside. Because on TV, I was like, good luck. You know what I mean? Everybody else. So, this was the filler match on the card. This was the shortest match on the card, and we saw the champions retain. So I don't know what's next for them, but I guess they're going to take on Toxic Attraction and use hey, you're the only reason why you've remained champions. Thanks for keeping our titles warm for us. We're going to win them back at the next event, which is Halloween Havoc.
And then we know that the good thing, which when we get to AEW, unfortunately, with NXT and WWE in general, these matches are nice and tight and the stories are getting good. So I don't think we'll be able to guess what's happened next, but I am excited. What's going to happen next. The next match was NXT and NXT UK Championship unification match. So what do you guys think about this one?
How did this happen? I saw the results, and I'm just curious. How did this guy beat Tyler Bate?
Well, I mean, it was a random spear at the very end that caught him, but he kicked out of a few things, which I actually thought for a second that Tyler Bate was going to win this. There's just something in the pit of my stomach that feels weird that nearly all of the NXT UK champions lost. I don't like how that feels. But the tough part here is obviously figuring out, okay, who's going on to NXT Europe. Now, if I take that out of my brain for a second, I think to myself, it's obvious that they want to build some more things around Braun Breaker, which is okay. In my head, I also felt like Braun Breaker, I don't know why I can't say his name tonight. Braun Breaker really is groomed for Raw and SmackDown. But what I think we're forgetting, though, is that he does barely have a year in this business. So him being in NXT is probably a very smart move. They did do a couple of tests, obviously, when they had him win the NXT championship on Raw right after Mania. And I think that told him what they needed to know because he hasn't been on Raw or SmackDown since. So I think they're just trying to take some time to really build Braun Breaker. Here's the other side that we haven't thought about. Tyler Bate's ready to go to Raw or SmackDown if that's something that they wanted to do. And he would benefit more from Raw or SmackDown than he would from being in NXT. So I think there's some other things that we could take a look at with that. But shout out to Braun Breaker. He was a hard fought match and he won it. So shouts to him. I didn't like it.
I mean, I think that's how we all felt watching it. I don't know where we have cooled off on Braun. Remember, we loved us some Braun Breaker, but somehow I think the Dolph Ziggler, I think him losing the Dolph kind of was like, all right, cool. And then for him to win it back, it was like, well, why even lose it in the first place? You know what I mean? And I think that kind of slowed down the momentum for him because you look at him and you really don't feel anything for him. And I think that's the tough part about being the babyface champion. When you're a babyface champion, you know, the chase is always pretty much better than the reign if you don't have that villainous figure. And we've seen him just kind of run through randomly Joe Gacy and randomly Cameron Grimes when he's bouncing back and forth between the North American title and this. And then Ciampa, he just has like random feuds with people that you can't really invest in, that you don't want to see him win. There's never an angle where the villain beats his ass and you want the villain to get his upcomings, which is basically what it is to be a babyface champion, where week after week after week they get beat down and then they win at the pay-per-view. You just kind of see Braun show up in his bootcut jeans and talk and flex and do this to the crowd, and then the premium live event happens and he wins. And that's basically all it is. So I would like to see after that he becomes the unified champion, start to tween a little bit and go heel and be like, look, bro, I'm Braun Breaker. Y'all know who my daddy is. I ain't need y'all to know all of that. I needed to get me in the biz, and I still got in the biz, and I'm the NXT Unified Champion. I'm the man in this company. and start to, tween a little bit, because I think it's better to have a heel champion that you want to see lose, and then you can build up a face as a challenger and make that face have a chase that is worth for watching, and you want to see them win and beat Braun, and that's how you kind of have Braun become that indestructible champion.
For Braun, I think what's tough, if you've been an NXT fan, Braun felt like the chosen one. Braun felt like what Roman felt like in 2016. And it felt like he's being forced on us. And just like we didn't ask for NXT Black and Gold to become NXT Joseph, the coat of many colors, we didn't ask for that, but it showed up that way. And so then we started seeing everybody that we loved from NXT Black and Gold systematically be removed. So it wasn't even like we watched the rise of Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker was anointed from episode 1. When he beat Max Dupree, who wasn't Dupree at the time, when he beat him in the opening match, we went, wait a minute.
Who this?
Okay. Right. And it became very clear what was about to happen. And so it was a matter of time before he was going to become champion. So to that point, I don't think this is a heel or face issue. I feel like this is one of those things. That's what happens when you're in part of the zone. Listen, you're on assignment. Hello, lights. So I just think that's the deal with Braun Breaker. And so I guess NXT is one of those places where we like to see people organically rise to championships, and it didn't feel like that with Braun.
And that's again, let's bring up my point about Melo. Melo should have been the one to win the championship because he was there from Black and Gold and kind of transferred over.
Well, but that's the thing. This was Vince's NXT now. He didn't really want the remnants of Black and Gold. So that's why he figured his hand.
So why keep Melo and make him a North American champion?
Well, I think Melo was, again, building a certain area. And again, he was still fresh enough where he wasn't totally associated with Black and Gold, yet he also didn't fit that mold that Braun had. Braun had the look. Braun is the classic, exactly.
Vince McMahon guy.
I hate that classic look. I hate it.
You don't have to talk. You just have to look amazing. So that's that. Now I'm interested to see where all this goes, because to me, if we and it's interesting that they've kept those two apart. I don't know if you've noticed that, but Braun and Melo never end up in the ring. They never end up in the ring at the same time. They never cross paths. I think if that ever happens, that's when we know for sure what's about to go down.
Yeah, that sounds like WrestleMania weekend to me.
Facts.
I think they're going to hold on to that
and
do some type of unified championship. I wanted for Halloween Havoc, but I think it's going to be a slow build, because let's face it, the star of NXT 2.0 is Carmelo Hayes.
Absolutely,
that's the guy. This is a Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, or Daniel Bryan and Batista, Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins, whatever you can call it, situation. We know who carries the NXT championship, but we know who the main guy is. We know who the A guy is, and that is no doubt Carmelo Hayes. Melo don't miss. When Melo shoots, he scores every time. Banger after banger after banger after banger. So I think, we're going to see what happens with this run. They could do it sooner maybe, but I think that's what's next. Like, we got to pull the trigger on Carmelo and Braun, because Braun is 2.0. He's 2.0 to the max, what he was looking for. And we're going to go away from that. So how does Braun fit into that? Are we going to force him into that, or are we going to make some tweaks to his character? That's what I want to see. So,
and what we are going to see next, we are done with NXT. We're moving over to AEW. I really had a challenge whether I was going to include the 0 hour, but it was a whole hour long for real, like the name. So I mean, we had, and the first match was actually really good. So what do you guys think of this match?
Eddie Kingston should punch Sammy Guevara more in the face if he's going to get a banger like that.
That's funny.
You know what I mean?
I haven't thought about Eddie Kingston. I'll save it though. I do have a question though. At what point did the AAA mixed tag championship become such a thing in AEW? I mean, it's literally like Tay and Sammy went away and got married, and they brought us back belts, and now they're just fighting here, defending for belts.
They brought it back from the honeymoon.
Yeah, literally. And now all of a sudden, I didn't even know AAA had mixed tag titles, and now that they do, we get it's just confusing. But the other thought that I had from this was, oh, what a difference a year makes. Last year, the Joker in the women's casino battle royal was Ruby Riott. Yeah. Major news. This, I call the Ruby Riott. It's Ruby Soho. Sorry. It was Ruby Soho.
Respect Rancid.
Ruby
A
Soho.
year later, Ruby Soho opens up the 0 hour. And loses.
I mean, yeah, but she's been losing for a while too.
But they ain't telling us nothing we already ain't know anyway,
But to be honest with you, she chose to be where she's at right now without giving out too much information. Like, she doesn't want to be in the title scene right now. So you can't get mad. If that's what she wanted to be at, that's what she wanted to be at. You can't.
She doesn't want to be in the title scene right now.
Not right now.
Is there a reason?
Yeah, but I'm not gonna say it on here.
Damn, we'll put it in the chat so we can at least
I'll put it
know.
in the chat.
I'll put it in the chat. But Anthony has a good question before we move completely on to AEW. Do you guys think Triple H reveals the undisputed title belts on Tuesday for the matches that ended up being undisputed at Worlds Collide?
Well,
that'd be nice.
Because there were murmurs that Triple H is going to get all new title designs. So that was the talk anyway, that Triple H wants to get new designs for the titles. We didn't know if that extended with the NXT realm, but we're going to see if they unify the titles. We didn't see him do it for the North American Championship, although that was obviously under a different regime when they unified the NXT and the Cruiserweight titles. But I think the titles look fine as what they are. I don't know what else much more you can do to them. Obviously we've seen the NXT Championship get changed, and all the belts were kind of changed to kind of reflect the rainbow or the Joseph and the mini 1,000 Technicolor coat type of situation. But tune in this Tuesday, and we gonna see, as the great Drake says, we gonna see.
Isn't there a draft coming up too?
They're gonna do post WrestleMania.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, post Mania. Although I would love to see a Winged Eagle belt return. A Winged Eagle belt, a WWE Championship that has actual gold on it. That's just a big giant W. We need that Winged Eagle belt, please.
A branding belt.
That's the belt I want. That's the belt I want Cody to hold up. The Winged Eagle, 1,000%. But back to some AEW.
The diplomats.
Fuck off, Bird Gang all day. The Dipset with the two burners on the side.
Right.
Yeah. Enjoy it. But yeah. So to your point, Professor G, the AAA World Mixed Tag Titles, I don't get them either. I think they won it back at Triple Mania a couple months ago. Yeah. And sometimes they show up with them, sometimes they don't. They're not really defended regularly. And did anybody even know this was going to be for the titles? I just thought it was going to be just a mixed tag.
Yeah, I thought it was just a mixed tag.
Yeah, and we just inserted, and we just inserted Ortiz because again, Eddie Kingston got a mean right hook. So,
I like the match. The match was decent. I just felt like they were a little bit more reckless in this match. When I look back at how Ruby Soho fell
on her head.
That one. Sammy let her go recklessly, and she landed like on her neck type situation. And then when Tay hit her finisher, she literally hit her in the face. Because
almost
she was
like broke her nose.
Yeah, like she was prepared to take the pin. So I that's what I see when I saw the match. I'm like, yo, these two are working very reckless, and I can see why people want to punch you in the face.
So next match we have in the 0 hour, we had Hook defending the FTW title against Cool Hand Ange. Hook is the winner. What do you guys think of this match?
It was a good match. It was a good start off. We had Action Bronson on the side, who performs his interest music. It was a good interaction between those two. And they got
thing Blue. I heard that.
Yeah. So, and then we got a chance to see Action Bronson hop in the ring and back up Hook since there's no more Team Taz. So that was a dope interaction, and you got to get a familiar face in the ring and probably get some media talk as well. What do you guys think?
I was happy to see Action Bronson get involved. I was waiting for it. We have to find a way to team up Hook and Action Bronson in some type of celebrity wrestling match and have the entire song playing as they're whooping ass, a la New Jack and Mustafa.
Yes,
the
gangsters.
The gangsters. And just have that going down. But it was excited. It was dope to see Action Bronson and once again see hip hop and professional wrestling mix.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Hook. Hook is definitely one of the organic stars that have been birthed out of AEW. And I am appreciating his rise. I'm grateful that they're not pushing it too fast, but they're giving it a nice build at a good pace. So this was a good moment for him. And if I recall, isn't this the first time? No, it's not. It's the second time. I was thinking the first time that the FTW title has been defended against someone not in Team Taz, but he defended it a couple of weeks ago on Rampage against some random person that wasn't part of Team Taz. So
wasn't it QT Marshall?
No. It was some other guy whose name I can't remember now.
It was like the reality show dude or something.
Yeah,
that's
some
right.
reality guy. So
that was his wrestling name, some reality guy.
Yeah, literally reality guy. Shout out to Dark.
And then we had another championship match to follow that, right, TK?
We did. We had Sabin and Pac next.
Right.
Pac was the winner for that one.
So much happened. So much happened.
So it was like so long. It was
4 matches. I'm thinking it was 3 matches in a 0 hour.
Yeah, as I said, it's a whole hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, they went from cover to cover. I was like,
but would you consider this their WrestleMania though? Because this is basically their flagship pay-per-view.
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, you have All Out, but then you have Double or Nothing, which is a celebration.
That's like
of their first
SummerSlam, right?
Well, no, that was their very first pay-per-view.
Yeah, I think that's their WrestleMania.
So, I think that could be really considered their WrestleMania. But All Out became a big deal because it was a celebration of All In as the very first kind of indie type of thing. But their very first pay-per-view was the Double or Nothing, which they've made a pretty big deal about.
Actually, I kind of agree with Blue. I think All Out is more WrestleMania and Double or Nothing is more SummerSlam. Because I feel like they put, think of All Out last year and everything that they kind of, had all these surprises and stuff like that. And obviously, they can't do as many surprises because WWE's not firing as many people now.
Right.
But I feel like it was just a longer, they made it longer. I don't know why they made it longer, but I feel like they packed in a lot more matches because this is kind of like their big flagship pay-per-view. That's what I think. I kind of agree with you, Blue, where it's like this is more of a WrestleMania type thing because 5 hours there was like matches such as this one that was just like you could have. I
like this
for
match.
A championship, but you could have made it a little shorter or something. Yeah.
The crazy part about there's 2 things that I think are somewhat systematically wrong with this. Kip Sabian, this is his first match back in nearly 2 years. So we haven't really had a reason to be invested in him other than he was the guy with the bag. And then Wednesday night, he finally attacks Pac. And now we got a title match. The other thing is, this is the first time we've seen this title defended stateside. It's been defended at random places in Europe, which it's the All-Atlantic Championship, so cool. But there's not a real buy-in to this title. Now, we love Pac. We love to watch him do what he does. But it was just kind of like, here. And that to me, to some degree, was the theme of a lot of this night was here. And for that reason, it's why this pay-per-view didn't need to be 5 hours.
And and you paid for it. So they're like, we can make it. We already got our money. We can make it as long as you want. You guys are gonna watch it.
Yeah. Again, we just saw it. It was kind of like, all right, cool. They're gonna have to figure out a way to really big up and get the All Atlantic Championship to shine properly. Because now it's just kind of it doesn't feel prestigious at all. It feels like once we got a winner, we was already announcing the trios championships. So again, we haven't had a chance to really invest in Kip Sabian. The moment he reveals himself, he has a title match, and there's no real backstory, right? Is there like a Kip Sabian?
Yeah, he's been stalking Pac for like 2-3 months before the title was even presented.
But he was stalking him like elsewhere. He was stalking him in Europe. So
off TV. Like we should have had a way to include it on TV because the whole time Pac was in the middle of a feud with the House of Black, and he was teaming.
No, he was there for that. He was there for that.
And then he won.
No, he was at ringside for that.
They
pointed out sometimes. Yeah, they pointed out
specifically was beefing with Pac.
They pointed out it was for Pac around I'd say a month ago. That they started paying attention to it, this is for Pac, but he has been it's been I agree they could have done a whole lot better with it
because the box thing was longer than a month, like we saw with the box and overrated, underrated, whatever it is. But I was like, when did it get associated with Pac? Well, hopefully this ends that and we can move on.
For real,
agreed.
I do want to see more Kip Sabian though. Kip Sabian is pretty dope.
I agree. Kip had a spot with Penelope Ford and Miro being the best man and whatnot. He was highly featured before the injury and whatnot. So I like to see that.
Yeah. So we have Casey in the chat saying they should have really gone dark with Kip's character. Kip definitely is slightly more interesting with this new attitude, but still kind of Mia. So we'll see.
He looks like a Tumblr post, just like a emo Tumblr 2013 post. But shout out to Kip Sabian. Welcome back, bro.
And we thought he was gone, but now he's back. Eddie Kingston in for, I can't pronounce his name.
Tomohiro Ishii. Yes.
There you go.
What they say.
What they say.
We're New Japan guys, obviously.
I'm about to say it, but y'all beat me to it. So I was like, you know what? Go ahead. You got it. I just call him Ishii.
Everyone calls him Ishii.
Eddie Kingston wins by pinfall with the Northern Lights bomb. What do you guys think of this match?
It was brutal. It was honestly New Japan style. So it was a dope match to watch.
For a minute, I thought we was going full King's Road here. I thought we were gonna King's Road it up. There was a couple spots I was like, oh, he landed on his head, on his neck. I mean, we really out here strong style King's Roading it up, and we heard Eddie kind of mention that in his promo. He's like, dog, I'm going down that road. I'm going down the King's Road, and we gonna get busy out here. So. Very stiff, very strong. I really enjoyed that. So that was really dope.
Yeah, the first 5 minutes of just slapping each other's chests. I was like, okay.
Brutal. But that's Ishii style. That's Eddie Kingston style. And I thought it was a really solid match. Something about Eddie Kingston isn't clicking right now. I can't put my hands on it, but I can't put my hands on it.
I don't know, Professor. That crowd begged to differ.
No. I'm not saying that the crowd, he didn't connect with the crowd. And I think that the crowd connected with the fact that this was going to be a barn burner, hard-hitting match. I think they're all for that. Maybe it's me. It's just me. I mean, I'll leave it there.
I was worried about Ishii because when he was stumbling at the end, I'm like, is he really
I was concerned.
Because he seemed like he was really disoriented. I'm like, does he know where he at right now? Because he doesn't seem to like where he's at. Something, one of those hits must have really connected, but it was a good match overall. Jeez,
we have Bosa saying typical Ishii match. Then we have Casey saying I was getting a little bored with this match. It did go a little bit longer. That's why I'm saying the 5 hours. I'm sure even if they had the same amount of matches, some of the matches were a little bit longer than others, and they could have cut that down and still been 4.5 hours. I don't think they would have been able to get it to 4, but there's a clear 30 minutes that they could have just chopped out for real. Next up is the casino ladder match. What do you guys think of this one?
I think they spread this match. Go ahead, G.
No. Please go.
I was gonna say I feel like they sped this match a little bit just so they could get to the end. It was a dope match. It had some dope spots. Everybody showed what they can. I felt like Claudio got lost in there somewhere because we didn't really see much of him.
I don't even know why he was even in there.
Right, like I didn't see much of him. Andrade played his part with Roosh. Dante, again, I don't know why he was there because it was just like rushing through the motions to just try to get to the end. Overall, the match was okay. Like I enjoyed some of the spots that they did, but the ending was amazing. Like I just wish that they would have gave it a little bit more time. This is one of those matches where I feel like they should have gave it a little bit more time just to build up to that end.
Correct, because it's going to be the person who can cash in the chips to challenge the AEW World Champion. So I really enjoyed the match. You know, I was kind of like, all right, I'm going to have it. And then the lights went out. I'm sorry. And then the boys in the black showed out and put some lights out. And it was like, what's happening here? You kind of had to, is this Retribution? What's going on? Retribution showing up.
Right.
T-Bar, you know what that is? But I thought it was really dope when, you know, the figure climbed it. I saw the little black hand and I was like, Stokely.
I thought it was Moriarty. I thought it was Moriarty.
I actually thought it was Gresham for a second. I was like, that'd be a cool twist, you know?
That would have been amazing if it was Gresham. Yeah. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we will later see Lee Moriarty alongside Ethan Page, Colton Gunn, Austin Gunn, and W. Morrissey, everybody who's Stokely's been giving those cards to for the last couple of weeks. And it looks like they made that collect call, baby. And then they showed up. I mean, what a faction of like 2, 4, 5 people. I guess Ethan Page is out of the American top team, I guess, what's going on. And then all of a sudden,
broken up. Yeah, that was broken up a while ago.
Now we hear the Rolling Stones playing. By the way, on y'all feed, could y'all just hear the music and nothing else? It was just like the music playing, but you couldn't hear the crowd. It was just like Rolling Stones coming out. And all of a sudden, the masked magician shows up to give us the secrets and reveal the secrets to magic. The masked magician is all elite out here with that mask on, and Stokely Hathaway just hands him the chip, and it's like, wait, did he win? No. You know, and the winner is the Joker, and we don't know who it is. We got our thoughts. We speculated the Joker could have been Samoa Joe or MJF. That was our two. And, of course, we'll find out later on the show who it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say this, going back to Dante Martin, I feel like Dante Martin is the Shelton Benjamin / Kofi Kingston of the ladder match, where you just put him in for highlights. You don't put him in to win. And that's what I think he was there for. You know, I will say this. So I found the ending of the match to be a bit anticlimactic because I was just like, wait, huh? You know, and so I'll save my thoughts till the end. The one good thing that came out of this, though, is I feel like we finally have some continuity for what Stokely's been doing for the last 2 to 3 months. Randomly handing these cards to random people, and you couldn't really see a tie-in between them. But to see them all come together and by the end of the show get an understanding of what it meant, it was like, oh, okay, so finally, yeah. So we played the long game with it, and I was okay because to me that was the payoff from that particular piece, you know. But I don't know that we had to put the ROH World Champion and the ROH Pure Champion in a ladder match to get that done.
Right.
Because that's not even a Pure Champions match. That's not even what he does.
That part. Pure Champions don't work with ladders.
Don't work with ladders. Put somebody in a grapple or something like that. And again, why would you put your world champion in a spot to be a number one contender for the title? If you're a champion, then you challenge the champion in a champion versus champion match. The champion doesn't contend for a chance to have a match.
And then get lost.
Yeah, and
lost in the
shuffle. Yeah, you know, sheesh.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy the ending, and I felt like that was probably the highlight of the night.
Yeah, agreed.
Next up is the AEW World Trios Championship, which I'm actually for. I love a good trios match. I think we were talking about it in the chat. It adds another belt, which is always great. It gives other people things to do. So I'm for it. What did you guys think about this match?
It went chalk. It went the reason why we thought that this would even happen in the first place. The reason why Kenny Omega returned. The reason why we rushed through everything. The Elite defeat the Dark Order. We knew that 10 will somehow get injured. and Hangman Adam Page against his wishes will have to join. But we had to find a way to resolve Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega, which was dope. Former tag champions now fighting to become the first ever trio champions. So I kind of like that angle. I wish that was highlighted a little more, but it went the way we expected it to go, with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks becoming the first ever AEW World Trios champions.
Yeah, to that point, I do think that they did do one thing in there which I thought was interesting, which was have Hangman Page accidentally cost the Dark Order the tag match, which I thought, ooh, we've added another layer here to potentially put a rift between the two. I thought that was good, but I don't think there was anybody on planet Earth that did not think that Kenny Omega and the Bucks weren't winning these titles. Of course they were going to win the titles. It just made sense. I'm laughing because I feel like you could literally have Dynamite be Clash of Champions every single week if you're going to have all the titles on, because you got 5 million titles now in AEW and still only 3 hours of television. So there's that. But with that said, I do think AEW does trio matches very well. So to have trios championships does make sense. Again, I say
they have enough people.
They certainly have enough people, and it would give folks an opportunity to do some things. I just say we're going to need at least one more hour of television so that at least these champions will actually get to be on our screens.
Yeah, they absolutely.
I definitely agree. They need another hour or two, maybe to flip Dark or Evolution to TV time. I don't know. Even if they keep it on YouTube, like that's fine with me because YouTube is free and we got it on all our TVs at this point. So just flip it on over there. Just make it more interesting.
Don't pay the same.
Yeah, they got to make. Right. Hopefully, with the next deal, if they can extend the deal with now Warner Brothers Discovery, they can make Rampage 2 hours. That's what's missing. They have to make Rampage 2 hours. And Tony Khan also spoke that with the roster now being more healthy again, they can kind of focus continuity more, because sometimes Rampage feels like a whole completely different show and just kind of throw away and doesn't acknowledge what happens on Wednesdays. So hopefully we can get more continuity between Dynamite and Rampage. But I think with AEW, the trios division for AEW can be what the cruiserweight division was for WCW. They have a chance to really bring trio wrestling to the forefront for American audiences, because a lot of us watch a lot of AAA, CMLL, a lot of New Japan, like
I was introduced to it through Lucha Underground.
Lucha, yes.
That's how I miss Lucha. And I really liked, I really liked how they did it. But just exactly what you were saying, they have to add another hour, even though I don't personally want another hour, just because there's so much wrestling.
So much wrestling.
But for the health of the brand, with everybody that they have, they should definitely do another hour. And this leads us to the next match, which felt
I'm sorry,
like,
I just want to add one point to this trio. I'm gonna finish. I'm sorry. But I also like the layer where, like you said, that not only did Hangman Adam Page cost them the match, it was a situation where Hangman turned them down to go work with Dark Order. So now, and we also know there's unresolved issues between Hangman and Kenny Omega. And even in the match, they did the same spot for the AEW Championship when he won the title from Kenny Omega. They did the same spot again and potentially winning, but this time the Bucks stepped in and was like, nah, we can't let you rock this time. We need these titles. And when it was going up the ramp, he kind of looked back at him like, yo, this was supposed to be my friends. And you kind of see that in the match too. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Elite handles this moving forward, especially with Kenny Omega as a face. He got to make up with Hangman at this point.
Yeah.
And what about those sneakers? Y'all thought those sneakers was fire? Y'all copy the sneakers? The Young Bucks sneakers?
Yeah, I put that in my notes. I was like, what about the sneakers? Yeah.
Y'all not copying them?
Buy with your WWE credit card?
Right.
Yeah.
Or do you need an AEW credit card for those?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I was like, okay, like, are they going to be in Champs? Or
they are going to be in Champs.
They're going to be in Champs.
Yeah, like,
they are going to be in Champs.
And all that. Yeah, like, okay. I was like,
haven't been in Champs forever.
Right.
Yeah. This leads us to our next match: Jade Cargill and Athena.
Let's start with this.
We all knew what was going to happen.
We did.
I don't
think anybody's betting different.
Yeah, the entrances were amazing.
Yes.
They really were. They were amazing. I love Jade Cargill with black hair. It's a win. That's a win. We've never seen her with black hair. We've seen her with, the blonde, the green, black hair. That works. The whole Hulk look, She-Hulk, brilliant.
Killed it.
Brilliant. Oh man, that was fantastic. And then Athena, with the wings and like just those two entrances, really made the match, at least leading into the match, feel special. They didn't have a lot of time. I would have loved to have seen what would have happened.
Yeah, I was gonna say both in the chat if you have the time for the match, because sometimes you do have match time. Let us.
It was only 4 minutes. I think it was like 4 minutes and 20 seconds or something.
It was a short. It was
Everyone
a short.
Was like, oh, that was it. That was it.
It was a short one.
Okay.
It's a shame that we waited all of these months for such a short match.
Yeah.
Especially on the pay-per-view. But with that said, Jade's your champion.
I'm sure Christian the Jungle Boy would like to say a word about that. We'll get to that later as well. But Jade Cargill, I mean, look at that, dude. What a star. What a time we get to see her on TV, bro. You know what I mean?
I don't agree.
I was about to say, I would honestly, if I would have the chance, I would tell him to find a way to get the title off of her and let her really focus in the ring and let her come back and let her be the star that she deserves to be in terms of outside of the ring and inside of the ring as well, because she has shown growth inside that ring, spending her time with Bryan Danielson, but she needs more time. It can't just be when it's going to be before your show, you spend 30 minutes in the ring. You have to have time outside during the week when you have nothing else to do, and let him help her hone in on her craft, because that's the reason why we're getting these 4-minute matches, 5-minute matches with her, because it will give her time to develop her skills that she can develop, because she is an athlete and she has the look. So I just say give her some time, like take the title off of her at 40 and then let her go build herself up and bring her back for the heavyweight title.
I think the only challenge you have with that is she is right now really your only mainstream AEW star. So there's that.
Yeah.
And, they're going to definitely want her out there because they don't want Bianca having all the shine. So now you got Jade out there, and she is a star, and people want to talk to her, and rightfully so. So splitting your time between that and, do we take her off of there to train her? So there's that.
So we have Joseph saying to Sammy, I wanted Athena to beat Jade. She basically had to make Jade look good, which is true. Bosa with the exact time, like Bosa does, 4:20. 4:20, interesting. And then Casey, do you have Jade go all the way to 50? Might as well, instead of ending at 39. I actually was in another chat in the Women's Wrestling Talk chat, and we were talking about this, and I think that 50 would be a better number because it's a Mayweather number. And Mayweather, like you can kind of tie that. There's, both AEW and WWE are making references to other sports, UFC, boxing, etc. So I think it'd be better. I don't think it's great for her, but like you guys were both saying, just mainstream and AEW is using it. I think it'd be better if you hit 50 because 50 just sounds better. Right. And then have her. The problem is who's she gonna, drop it to? But they're not really building up anybody else. Like Athena, Ruby Soho were both great candidates, and we already saw what they're doing to Ruby Soho. You're seeing what they're doing to Athena. So yeah, we'll just see. I'm sure. Hopefully, Tony Khan has a plan. That leads us. What are you gonna say?
I was going to say, shouts to Jade Cargill. Marvel spent all that money on CGI, and Jade Cargill was standing right there the whole time. That's who should have been. That's who should have been twerking next to Megan Thee Stallion.
Wow.
I don't know how we got there. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how we got there either.
That's hulking.
That's what Marvel says too when they look back on the footage. I'm sure that's what Disney's saying too when they look back on that footage.
Yeah, that was all the way strange in so many ways. But kudos to Megan Thee Stallion for getting a check. Next up, we have what did we have next? FTR and Wardlow versus Jay Lethal and Motor City. What do you guys think of this match?
That's one of the things that should have been left off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Wardlow not gonna defend the title, and FTR, pretty sure they can't defend the titles every time on AEW shows only. Give them the night off, and we could have packed this away. Like this was not needed at all.
Yeah, it was just, and like it got 16 minutes. It got 16 minutes, and it was just like, first of all, AEW does this thing where like people come out with people and they don't acknowledge them. Shouts to Dax's daughter, her 8-year-old daughter, fight like a girl.
Yeah, they didn't say her name or anything.
They didn't acknowledge the daughter, and you kind of see this a lot. That people come out, they didn't even like acknowledge the daughter coming out. Of course, she'll be involved in the match later, but
I don't think they wanted to put the kid's name out there, because sometimes even when Dax did his thing, he didn't really say her name. So I think
her name is Finley.
Is it?
Yeah, they said her name all the time. It's Finley.
They did say her name. They did say her name.
So
damn, Dax even posted a picture. Dax was like, he posted a picture with Fit Finley. It was like Finley, and he was like my favorite Finleys. And it was like Fit Finley and like 8-year-old Finley girls. I was just like, was this needed for the pay-per-view? This could have main evented Rampage on Friday. It wasn't for any titles. Like, FTR has every single company's title except the company who actually writes their checks. So, wasn't worried about them. And Wardlow's your TNT champion. It's just like, how can we destroy all of the momentum and hype we had for somebody? And we're watching how it can happen for one Wardlow. He should have had a singles championship match for the TNT title. Why is he teaming up in a 6-man tag that you already have a trios title match, the finals for? That we're hotter for that. We want to see that more than Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns. Love them, enjoy them, but it was just so random. Like, what beef does the Motor City Machine Guns have with FTR that even constitutes them challenging and trying to figure out their tag team supremacy? And the Motor City Machine Guns was beefing for a little bit, so it's not like they've been on the best of terms lately. I just the whole time.
Yeah,
that's how I felt the whole time watching it.
That's when I did my errands around the house real quick. Put my kids down.
Yeah.
Got something to drink.
Going match. Yeah. That's funny. Because that beef, I mean, that match just kind of was put together randomly happening. But then there was a real blood feud, TK, for the next match that didn't really get any tick.
Are you hitting me up for the next match as to move on? Blue just sent me something, so I'm trying to edit it real quick. Yes, super. Thank you for queuing up the next match. Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. What do you guys think about this match?
Well, go ahead. Go ahead. Blue. Go ahead.
Oh, me? I go first.
I heard the breathing. It's like, you have something to say.
Nah, because I felt like this was one of like Kane said, like this was the blood feud that should have had more time. Like we talked about, FTR and them had 16 minutes that they didn't really need, or should have been on the card in general. This could have went towards this match, and I would have felt better if Ricky Starks got more offense in against Powerhouse Hobbs. I understand that it's a strength thing versus a speed thing, but I'm pretty sure Ricky Starks could have got more offense in than what they did. To be very honest with you, he got more punches in when he ambushed them for the past couple of weeks than he got in his whole match. Like it could have been handled a whole lot better. And I get it that you want to keep Powerhouse Hobbs strong and making him look, I guess they're gonna set him up to go against Wardlow for the TNT title next. I understand, like I can see the road you're going to, but at the same time, Ricky Starks is a star. Like the moment that he stepped out on that stage, everybody already knew who it was, and like the way he changed his look and how he's building his character, that match did nothing for all that presentation that they've done for the past week and a half. And tonight, before the match started, I just think they could have handled that a whole lot better.
Yeah, you just saw it. It was just like, what was that? Like, Team Taz members, Ricky Starks coming off being FTW champion for a year, and then dropping it to Taz's son, dropping it to Hook, and then having Powerhouse Hobbs turn on him immediately afterwards. He's had all of these horrible things. Raindrops are falling on my head here, and that's how you go out. There's no redemption. Like you you just get squashed in 5 minutes eventually. Even the ending was kind of rocky. It was the spine buster, and Hobbs pins him and leaves. And everyone's just like, wait, that was the match? That was it? Like, there's blood feud between former Team Taz members, like, who were almost tag team champions, who had
friends.
such a storyline history, BFFs. Like, they probably had bracelets, orange Team Taz bracelets, and, this is how we end. And it's just like, all right, cool. What's next?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I'm sitting here just thinking it's amazing that when we start thinking about booking, you tend to give more time. You should give more time to the stories versus the random matches. And what we saw here was the opposite. We saw more time given to random matches than time that, there were things invested in. Jade, Athena, Powerhouse and Starks. And the Powerhouse and Starks thing, they both were really now starting to establish themselves as singles competitors. All the more reason why they needed more time to establish. 5 minutes is what you barely get on Dynamite. So I just think 5 minutes in this environment for pay-per-view is one of those things. The thing is, Starks is a star, right? I don't think this match stops him from being a star, but he can't keep having 5 minute matches where he loses. Not after the promos he's cut, not after the intro that he had. No, this man's a star. Let's not squash this particular star who we all know is a star. Yeah. My thoughts exactly, TK.
I mean, so some of it just doesn't make sense to invest in some stuff that didn't necessarily have a story versus some stuff that did have a story. But here we are. Something that does, I think, had a good story and a good intro. We had a Swerve in Our Glory versus the Acclaim for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. I really loved this match. It was probably like, you had the great matches, then it dipped low for maybe a match or two or three. And then it came back up for this match. So what do you guys think of this match?
You could make the argument that this was the match of the night for this pay-per-view. These two teams gave us everything. And what was interesting, because we were chatting about should the Acclaim have won, should they not have won. I personally think this is the best match they've ever had on AEW television. They hung in there. They almost, we literally thought they were winning the titles tonight. They were super over. The crowd, the crowd was very much pro-Acclaimed in this event. And they told great stories, the body going down for Caster's partner. Like, it was one of those things where anybody could have won this, and we could have easily saw the Acclaimed walk out as tag team champions. I do think that in this loss, their stock rises even more to be one of those super hot teams, because what's unfortunate with AEW's tag division is it's literally you have FTR, the Young Bucks, and everybody else. And I don't think that our tag team champions are even viewed in the same light as the Young Bucks and FTR. So to really be able to raise the stock of both the Acclaimed and Swerve in Our Glory was super important, and I think this tag match did that.
I disagree with that, because last time when Swerve and Our Glory battled the Young Bucks and Team Taz, I feel like they were hanging in there with them, and to the point where people actually thought they had a chance of winning it. So I think that their stock was built in that match alone, and then later on when they win the tag team titles. This match right here for tonight with the Acclaim, I understand that everybody wanted the Acclaim to win, but like you said, this was the Acclaim's first biggest match that they actually showed out to. They've been building for a while, but I feel like people forget that in the beginning, people didn't really gravitate to the Acclaim. They really took shots at Matt Caster and his character as a rapper. They claimed that he was a wannabe John Cena and things like that. It wasn't until recently where people started like, okay, these guys are actually dope. And I feel like that's what kind of like stunted their growth in the beginning, is because the crowd didn't really get behind them like they should have. And now they're starting to get behind them, and it's showing, because they're a great talent. So this match tonight was a great introduction for them. I would love to see them run it back, because this match was so close. It's just that Swerve in Our Glory is just that much better. I don't know. Like, it's funny how in the matches, Swerve and Our Glory always end up hitting each other, right? They had those miscommunications.
That hit was, whew.
Yeah,
1, 2, like twice they got in each other's way, but then when it came to the end, they knew where each other was at, because I swear all I saw was Keith Lee picking him up and Swerve was really at the top rope. I'm like, where did Swerve come from? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like that, and then that's what it took to win the match for them. And I thought that was dope. Like, I love that match. Like you said, it was the match of the night.
You know, there is the recent interview with Papa H, Triple H, and Ariel Helwani, where he talks about booking. Triple H says he learned from Vince that sometimes you have to sit in the seat of the fan. You have to put your butt in the seat of the fan and give the fans what they want. And tonight, Tony Khan did not do that. The Acclaimed should have absolutely went over. It should have been put on the paper, the Acclaimed go over, and then they would have scissored the paper, and threw the paper up as confetti. That's what should have happened tonight. You know, Swerve eliminated Keith Lee in the Battle Royal back in the day. Like, the tension is there. So the storyline is to heighten the tension between Keith and Swerve, and this would have been the perfect point to break it up right here, I feel like, and just have Keith and Swerve do their thing and have their feud and have the Acclaim be tag team champions. They are the hottest tag team in AEW, Blue. They are.
I get that, but when you say that,
scissor me, daddy.
when you say that,
brilliant chant though.
That was pretty dope. That was pretty dope. But when you say that Swerve and Our Glory does nothing for anybody, you have to remember that this team is not even a year in, and I feel like a lot of time us as fans, we talked about this before. Sometimes we microwave these teams and quickly break them up before they even get a chance to do what they need to do. And for you, like, I get it. Like, the tension is there. You know, AEW, long-term booking, let it build up. When it's time to really let it pop, it's gonna pop. And again, with the Acclaim, this was their first big pay-per-view. You can't just give it to them on the first one. We just talked about it earlier, how sometimes the face need to chase the championship. Let them chase that championship, and when they finally win it, it's gonna be that much better. Because we definitely saw heel tendencies amongst Swerve and Our Glory as well. So it's a long-term booking type thing, and just give it time to develop.
Yeah, but do you think that they are a real tag team? And the reason I ask that is that they come out separately. They don't come out, and to me, that's a telling tale as far as, like, okay, you guys are still separate, but we're just yeah. And so if that's the case, if they're going to operate at that, are you giving them a long-term booking, or are they just waiting for a moment where they can be singles champs? Like, so to me, like, when the intros are not together, like we see that in WWE all the time, where it's like we see all these tag teams, but they don't even have music, or they're coming out separately. So for me, it's like I can't really take them as serious. Like, how invested are you really into the tag team championships, just on their end, but then also on booking end, if you're not even investing in them as a tag team?
I think that all plays into them their long-term booking of them being individuals, but still great as a tag team. That, you know, there's friends that you cool with and that you mesh with, and y'all, whatever the case may be, people that you play ball with. Just because y'all play ball together all the time doesn't mean y'all gotta come in the same car. Like, that's the way I look at it. Like, it could play in the long-term booking, in terms of like their music and stuff. I agree though. Like, I always look at that, like, y'all still come out separate. Like,
But you ain't got to come down in the same car, but you throw on the same uniforms. There's uniformity. You guys come out.
They wear the same uniforms. They put the video up. They had the matching clothes. They had the matching gear.
And then if you're a true team, you would come in the same car, because then you know about each other, and then you can actually be legit champions. We've seen teams a la Shaq and Kobe where they operated, but then it got kind of spicy and they were saying some crazy stuff. Like, is that?
We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out.
Speak about microwaving stuff together. I mean, this team feels microwavable, okay? And it's gonna pop, and the pop is gonna be burnt popcorn because it's set in the microwave for too long. We didn't eject it quickly enough, and now it don't taste the same. You eat it, and it's just like, ugh.
So I just want to be the one to remind us of a couple of things. I want to remind us that for all of this talk of the Acclaim should be tag team champions, it was merely 2 weeks ago that they were fighting the Gun Club. Yeah. Do you consider the Gun Club tag team championship material? Clearly not.
So Swerve and Our Glory had to come save them.
Right. Had to save them from being beat up by the Gun Club. So I say that to say it's another reason why the Acclaimed was not ready. I think this is the danger of some of these crowds. We saw this last night in Clash of the Castle. We saw this tonight in Chicago. The crowds in those particular cities could be super hot for somebody, but that may not be reflective of what's happening nationally or internationally. If things went the way at Clash at the Castle, Gunther would have lost to Sheamus. Drew McIntyre would be our Universal Champion right now, but you can't make those decisions based on solely that particular crowd for pay-per-view. House show, perhaps. Pay-per-view, not so much. And that's why the Acclaimed lost.
But G, I just feel like the Acclaimed are so white hot. They're not white hot for this moment.
They're not white hot yet.
I think they've been ready because they started out on Dark, they started out on Elevation, and they have worked their way up on the card and in popularity. And to that point, Swerve in Our Glory's been beefing, so that's why
we are being prisoners of the moment right now. Everybody's forgetting that Max Caster's partner has been injured for ages, okay? The man just got out of a wheelchair 2 months ago, all right? So I'm just saying they haven't been ready if one of them has been injured. So let's just remember.
It's been a delay, not a denial. It's been a delay, not a denial. And they scissored out the stitches out of his knee. Scissored the stitches out.
Okay, so just because you have a popular hand gesture and somebody can rap before the match doesn't make you ready to be tag team champions. I'm just saying, let's give the tag team a chance to be healthy for a little while. Because
it's called getting over, brother.
Well, but here's the thing. Getting over is what it is. But the reason this pay-per-view was put together at the last minute, according to Tony Khan, was so many people were already injured. You cannot build a pay-per-view around people who are injured. I'm all for pushing folks, but they've got to prove it. And given the physicality of the tag team division in AEW, you can't have somebody who has a broke leg or who's injury prone. Let him prove himself. Give him an opportunity. If he can go another 6 months without being injured, let's put the titles on him if they're still as popular.
Boom.
Good point.
All right. This moves on to...
How about this? One last thing, though. I'm just happy that it was all these black wrestlers. How about that?
And black referee. Black referee.
Listen.
I'm black, y'all. I'm black. I'm bigger than black, y'all.
It's Labor Day weekend. I'm happy.
Hey, was it Labor Day weekend or was it Juneteenth? Goddammit, because boy, I was getting deep.
Wow, I don't even know if that should give you a. I don't know. You said some questionable stuff. Well, Nikki's agreeing with you, so I guess no want.
Nikki's been agreeing with you a lot, Kane. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. So
the password.
They're swerving us.
We setting up the Battle Slam match, clearly.
Clearly.
Next match, which actually was I think it was a good match. Britt Baker, what was this for? Interim AEW World Championship. What do you guys think of this match?
Go ahead, G. You shaking your head.
Well, I'm shaking my head because I literally had this thought about the interim. Yes, September 25th. I can't wait. I literally thought about us when I heard the interim championship, and this is what I thought. The interim champion is the substitute teacher. The substitute teacher comes in, rocks with the class, keeps the class good, but when the teacher shows back up, thanks for coming, substitute teacher. So that's the interim championship. That's why we don't view it. I don't like it.
I disagree. I don't disagree because last time it was
it.
You gotta remember with the TNT title, when it was the interim championship, the interim champion actually beat, and Moxley did the same thing. So we can't automatically.
Here's what I'm saying though is when you call them the interim champion, you're calling them the substitute teacher, and I don't think that's fair for these people who are coming in, who are carrying the load while these champions are away. I don't think that's fair to them. Particularly as we found out with Thunder Rosa, she asked to give the title up. As Punk asked to give the title up. And it's TK who's like, nah, let's have an interim champion. With that said, congratulations to Toni Storm. I think she's been working very, very hard to win a world championship. You know, the last time we saw her in WWE, she had that match with Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and then she was gone. So congratulations. I'm happy for her. I really hope that she finally gets the run that I think she's able to have. I think there's some great matches that can come from this. So congratulations, Toni Storm.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, Professor Bonner,
I think
that's my thing. I think that this is the result that was going to happen. I think Toni Storm was going to go over Thunder Rosa. We saw the Thunderstorm pairing. We saw that. We see them become tag teams, and then they have a beef, and then they become enemies again. So I think that Toni Storm was going to be next in line anyway. But fair. Thunder Rosa's injury expedited the process, and now we're going to get a unification match where Storm goes over Thunder Rosa. It's going to be a lot of precipitation, a meteorology match. It's going to be a weather everywhere.
Yeah, no, I definitely enjoyed this match as well. I actually like the difference of like it being an interim is different from other companies, and I'm always for I understand the naming of it though. Like if you notice, Moxley had a problem with the interim. That's what was one of the things that bothered him. He's like, yo, like stop calling me interim. Like, nah, I'm the champion. I'm here putting in the work. I feel like, and it could play into that. Like, so I actually like the dynamic between that. In this match, I also like the dynamic that we've been waiting for. Hayter and Britt Baker had their riff finally because Britt Baker is selfish. And Hayter finally sees it. So we got the chance to see that because she tried to steal the match from her. And then again, Toni Storm definitely deserves the title. Like you said, we probably was going to have this with Thunder Rosa, but it happened in the 4-way match. Sheeta showed out tonight. Sheeta's always great to watch in a match. I feel like this was a great 4-way. Like all the women put their all into this. They gave them the time that they needed, and they delivered. I'm just going to be interested to see how not Thunder Rosa, sorry, Toni Storm moves forward as champion. I'm not going to use the I word.
Well, did you guys think that Toni Storm was gonna win? Because I kind of had Britt as just because she was just so good the first time around, and I feel like, you know, again, no shade to Thunder Rosa. I love Thunder Rosa. I love her story. I feel like they didn't tell her story correctly for her to be a true champion. Britt. How they did Britt, like it's the writings on the wall. How she uses her real profession as you know, part of her gimmick. So
this is a part-time job. What you talking about?
I know that part. Like I couldn't believe when she's still
right,
like crazy. Like,
appointment tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Right.
On Labor Day.
Shit, I think who was it? Athena? Somebody lost their tooth in a previous match. They might have to.
I thought it was Jade and Athena because they were hitting so hard.
Somebody was missing a tooth. They gotta go make an appointment.
Yeah.
Old girl Kiera Hogan needs because those kicks that Athena was giving them. Those were brutal too.
Very physical night.
Britt Baker handles the AEW dental plan, so she gets a kickback from that. So, you know, it's all good. But I'm very happy. I wanted Jamie Hayter to win. I'm a hater, big hater out here. You know what I mean? Enjoy Jamie Hayter. I wanted her and the Britt Baker feud to be for the title, but
it's not needed.
It can also be a blood feud.
It's not needed.
I mean, it took forever to get there, though. It took forever for the rift to happen.
Long term, I told you.
Long term. Pulling teeth.
AEW love it.
Next up is Christian Cage versus Jack Perry, which was a great match. I feel like I feel like they could have had this not on this card.
They could have won a minute. You mean at least they could at least win a minute? I mean, why? Well, okay. The tweets are talking. These Twitter streets are talking and saying that Christian Cage is injured, possibly a torn triceps, which is why the match went what it did. Remember, this was the whole situation that he's not Jungle Boy, he is Jack Perry. And Christian Cage, he is coming for your Canadian bacon ass, fam. Instead, we get Christian Cage walks out, he blows a kiss to Jack Perry's family, his sister smacks him. Like, by the way, they have the same hair. They must use the same shampoo, Jungle Boy and his sister. But anyway, because I was like, is that Jungle Boy? Oh, no, it's his sister. Okay, cool. His mom smacks him. And we see that Jungle Boy comes out, and who comes from nowhere? Luchasaurus, which is what we said on WWT Live we did not want to happen. We said if Luchasaurus turns face against Christian, then he better not turn heel against Jungle Boy 2 weeks later. And it's what happened. It just took all the steam. It took all the hype we had behind the promos and all this. It just you crashed it. You crashed it. You destroyed it. It just went for naught. So it was 20 seconds long. Luchasaurus beat up Jungle Boy, put him through a table, threw him in the ring. Christian kissed to the family, hit the Unprettier. That was the match.
I think we talked about this a few weeks before that when we said it made no sense for Luchasaurus to let Jungle Boy just walk right by and get to Christian Cage after all the weeks that he was talking trash. I looked at it different tonight. I felt like it was more so like maybe it was a long-term play from Christian Cage and Luchasaurus to set him up for this match when they finally do have their match, that Luchasaurus is going to turn on Jungle Boy, because Jungle Boy came out the tunnel, kind of looked back hoping that Luchasaurus would be behind him. He came from the hill tunnel and then, beat him down or whatever. I think that's what it was. They try to play it off as like Christian Cage was this long-term evildoer, like he planned this all along type situation. If that's the case, then it doesn't count as a double turn, does it? Like, it's just one turn.
I mean, listen, with the way Luchasaurus is going from face to heel, is the Big Show booking Luchasaurus matches or something?
That part.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to save it for them. Like, I think this is one of the things that it's a fake out. Like, nah, I'm on your side, psych.
I thought you said no more BS, Paul White. You had a shirt that said no more BS. And here you come, Luchasaurus healing. Could have just kept Luchasaurus heel and have him separated from Jungle Boy, trying to figure out what he wanted to do, or have him be Switzerland. There's dinosaurs in Switzerland. Just have him in the middle, trying to figure out what to play, and then at the end, he attacks Jungle Boy and puts him out. But it just like the payoff was just so. And again, I understand that there's a possibility that Christian Cage could have been injured, but there's so many other ways that I feel like this could have gone pre-injury for Christian. They should have, because Luchasaurus was always kind of the wild card. Whose side was he on? Was he going to be with his Jungle Boy, or was he going to be with his evil villain turtleneck father, Christian Cage? And he was with him the whole time. He didn't have to turn him back, because for God's sake, he kept the black attire and he kept the evil music, even being back with Jungle Boy. So I was like, man.
We have Casey in the chat saying this was a bathroom break match. I mean, could you even take it a bathroom break? It was 20 seconds.
Yeah, right.
By the time you unzipped, match was over.
So next match was the American Dragon versus Lionheart. What did you guys think of this match? Everybody was quiet. Wait, before we answer, is it because we're tired or because it's just like
That's what it was. I think when it got set up 2 weeks ago, or whenever that pay-per-view was, it was like, this match is going to happen, and this match, but wait, there's more. This should have been for the custody of Daniel Garcia match or something. They should have had Daniel Garcia on a pole or something, and the first one to retrieve Daniel Garcia off a pole wins Daniel Garcia's custodianship. It just kind of happened. I think the last time he faced was back when NXT Daniel Bryan was Bryan Danielson as a rookie for some reason, and Chris Jericho was his mentor for some reason as well, even though they have the same years of wrestling almost kind of. But yeah, it was just, I like the one part when Bryan was like, so you want to wrestle, huh? You want to be a wrestler? It's kind of like whooping his ass, but thank you. It should have been the Daniel Garcia on the pole match. And Daniel Garcia is just in the back watching like, oh my God, who do I choose? I'm so torn. I'm just a kid from Buffalo trying to figure out who I want. So yeah. And this is match number 13, and it showed. It was 23 minutes, and you could tell the crowd was starting to teetering off right after Swerve and Our Glory versus the Acclaim. I feel like that was, everyone had that left, and then they had to conserve the energy for Punk Moxley, and it showed. So I was doing stuff during the match, so which sucks for a Bryan Danielson Chris Jericho match.
So this all out pay-per-view just reminds me of the recording artist who feels like they have to put 20 tracks on a record. I'm sure your contract is going to have you put out another record. Yeah. So we've got the attention span these days of about 8 songs, 9, 10 if you got the juice. Yeah. Save the other 10 for the next record. So with that said, this was a match that was too good to
How
have
many
to
songs
have
did
waited.
Beyonce have on her album though?
Well, but Beyonce gives us a record
just
every
messing.
5-6 years. Yeah.
Right.
So like if you're
By the
Beyonce,
way, happy birthday, Beyonce.
that's
Yeah.
right. Happy birthday. Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday, Beyonce. Happy birthday, Stephanie Hardy, our host. Happy
Yes,
birthday,
yes.
Awesome Kong. And happy birthday to Xavier Woods.
Yes.
You know what? Just because of that, we're taking off tomorrow to celebrate your birthdays.
How about that? Nothing to do with Labor Day. So I think this match, I'm a massive fan of Bryan Danielson. I think Chris Jericho has to go down as one of the greatest of all time in terms of his ability to continually reinvent himself. So it's pretty amazing. So with all of that said, I just feel like after 4 hours, man, it's kind of unfair to have them go on then. So I just think it was a great match. It was just like, woo. But I love Bryan. I love this version of Bryan Danielson because he finally gets to do what he really, really, really wants to do. Now I am trying to, and that's wrestle. I am trying to figure out why he's losing so much, but that's another story for another day.
Yeah. Because I was shocked.
Right?
Well, I mean, he's lost every match he's had since he's been back. He's only had 2 matches.
No, he beat Daniel Garcia.
Did he beat Omega?
No, he didn't beat Omega.
They tied.
He lost the first match to Garcia. I guess he won the second match. Was a
He
2
won
out
the
of 3
second
falls.
one.
Yeah.
So he won that, but he lost the first fall of that. And then he's lost this match to Jericho. I just need Danielson to win a little bit more.
I feel like this is going to be a downward spiral, and he's going to start getting upset with his Blackpool Combat Club members who got titles and he don't.
Well, he's the only one. I was going to say, coming into this, he's the only one without a title.
Yeah, so I feel like this is like going to be a downward spiral.
Last year at this show.
Right, so he'd be like, yo, everybody got titles but me. And, well, I mean, Moxie don't have any titles right now either, so. Well.
We're getting
and it's a thing.
Segue.
Yeah, right? Because that's how I feel about the Blackpool Combat Club. It's like, what's going on with that? What a very loose faction. We've never really seen them all together. Yeah. And Daniel Bryan is actually 29-5. 13 wins in his past 15 matches, apparently. So, but it just seems like the big.
But 13 in the past matches. 15. I get it. Mm-hmm. He's won 1 out of 3. The last 3. The numbers game. I love it.
Next up is Darby Allin, Miro, and Sting versus the House of Black. Exactly.
That's twice. It happened twice. That's exactly what happened when I was watching it live. I'm like, title match, and this graphic came up. I was like, oh crap! I forgot about this match.
Yeah, I know. That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, wait, there's more? Oh no, I thought this was the pre-show. I was like, I missed this match on the pre-show. Yeah, House of Black versus Darby Allin, Sting, and Miro, which was brought to you by and shown on Tumblr. This match was shown on Tumblr, so everyone could be all sad and together out here. It was just shown on Tumblr. I mean, we didn't expect to see Malachi Black here after the week he's had. Is he with the company? Did he request it? And they said nah, or he never requested it. And I think that took all of the oomph out of the match. He showed up to work, and he did the job. House of Black lost. Which probably is the reason why he wants to leave anyway. But it don't work that way, boss. Listen, you kind of retired Cody Rhodes when he came back, and it was your highlight. So now, eat your black stew, buddy. There we go.
I think it's more. I think they give him his time off for whatever he needs to focus on or deal with. They give him this time off because apparently after the cameras went off, he hugged his crew members and blew a kiss to the crowd and bowed.
How you getting all this information?
Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Twitter's your best friend. So apparently, yeah, he hugged his house members and blew a kiss to the crowd and bowed out. So it feels like it, and now people are saying like giving him props and things like that on the timeline. So I just feel like maybe it's just give him time to do, because again it was reported it was supposed to be mental health. So hopefully just giving him time to clear his head and get things right.
Yeah, man. Listen, no man is ever truly good. No man is ever truly evil. But that man's gonna take a break for a while, Malachi Black. So we wish you well, homie. Hopefully you can recuperate. And maybe with this time, that was the Aleister Black team. Dun, 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 dun.
We are all looking at you like.
Hey, well, listen.
See, even Nikki was like, see, Nikki felt, yeah, Nikki know about it. You had her, and then
that's the turn to set up the match at Battle Slam. Like, hey, I thought we were cool. Then I brought up Aleister Black, and she got like, she didn't know who he was. You remember he used to rise up from this shit? You know, he used to rise up.
I remember. Yeah. I never knew the words. That's the thing.
Like, no, man,
right. That's all I knew.
So anyway, see you back in WWE, boss. That's what that sounds like to me, dog. You know what I mean? Because
not everybody could go back. He just signed a 4-year contract. He ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think he's that big of a player for like Triple H to take that like SEC lawyer like tampering stuff like Bill was. You know what I mean? If it was Punk or something, like he'll come back. But unless Punk shows up as like Alundra Blaze or Ric Flair with another company's title, because what happened, TK?
Are we going to the next match?
That was supposed to be the setup.
Everybody's tired. Everybody's just tired.
But you know what?
I don't know what you took before this post show. Okay, but you should have shipped it to all of us because I was like, I don't know what
he's in parts unknown. That's what he took. I mean,
he's no residences.
Hello.
Oh my god!
In the world,
I put the black in the House of Black. That's what he's doing.
Oh my goodness!
Well, technically speaking, if a black person was in the House of Black, it would be like Tyler Perry's House of Black because you got to really black it up. It's 10:40 here and it's 1:40 here. We're draining. This is how watching All Out was. He's like, yeah, and he was like, oh shit, it's still on, but we're gonna end here. The main event.
We have made it to the last match. Jeez. Wow. Yeah, it was a long night. Jon Moxley and CM Punk. This match, I admittedly, and I said this in the chat, I can't stand just looking at blood. So the moment that hit, I literally just started working on my computer. Like, all right, well, I gotta do it. I couldn't. If I saw anybody, y'all would have been by yourself. Like I couldn't. I can't do it. It's way too much. But what do you guys think of this match? The second time around.
Boy. It gave what it was supposed to give. You know, Moxley, violent as usual. It told the same story in the ring. Everybody kept going back to that roundhouse kick that made him lose last time. So I guess it played into the story. I don't think anybody came into this thinking that Punk was going to lose. Let's be honest. He's in Chicago. They did that whole rally talk with Ace this past Wednesday and got the whole Chicago behind him. And then again with the earlier night with the whole thing with the Joker, you kind of figured who's going to win this match. Like they tried their hardest to keep their hands hidden, but it was a decent match. I enjoyed it. I was tired, but I still enjoyed the match, and I was just waiting to see what's going to happen after the bell rang.
Well, when CM Punk came out with them white trunks.
Before you do that, I have a little clip that we can discuss as well.
I feel like I know what you're going to show.
Wow. All right, then.
That's your world champion.
Hey, man. I'm with the shits. I really enjoy it. First of all, the only problem I have is that he mentions the EVPs. It doesn't say their name, but the EVPs are obviously Kenny Omega, Nick Jackson, Matt Jackson, the Young Bucks. Those are the EVPs.
I didn't think they were still EVPs. Though.
And well, yeah, I think they still are the EVPs. Yeah. Well, he says the EVPs. They're still EVPs. Cody dipped out, but their responsibilities may have changed, but they're still the EVPs. So the only problem I have with he's saying that Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, the EVPs, could have managed a target, that's incorrect. First of all, they could have managed a Daiso. They could have managed a Daiso because Daiso's a Japanese store, and that's what he spent most of their career. That's what I need to say about that. Thank you. Daiso Japan. Thank you. So you say about that. But was this a work? It feels like
absolutely not.
But also kind of like what's happening here.
it's with Punk. You have to be careful because the whole thing with Cole Cabana, I feel like was a shoot. And it was a way to directly because again the reports came out that he got him fired, all that stuff. That was a way to get that in. And then when he starts going at the EVPs and Hangman Page, I feel that's where the work is at because eventually he has to go heel. And the whole mantra with MJF, even though he says "fuck the crowd," excuse my mouth, "f the crowd" and all that stuff, the mantra is MJF is supposed to save AEW from CM Punk. So CM Punk is supposed to act like the cancer for AEW. That's the only way I can look at it to say that it can be a work because it was over the top for a medium score. But yeah, it was just.
Wait.
It's a lot.
We are gonna talk about this being over the top for a media scrum, and we forget the media scrums that the CEO or the president of this company does. Tony Khan uses F-bombs all the time in media scrums. So he accepts that. He's fine with that. He's good. What is King doing?
That's my Tony Khan.
No.
So for me, I'm just like, I don't, let me say this, and I have to be clear, and I've been on a campaign with this for these last few months because everybody gets on this thing. Is it a work? Is it a shoot? Is it a work? Is it a shoot? I need you to understand that nobody's creative is that creative, that they're going to keep carrying things into, they're going to carry things into press conferences, and they're going to carry things into no, for folks that are in the box, people are saying, is it a work or a shoot? No, I think we have been so programmed to ask ourselves that question. This is how bad it is. And I hate bringing this up, but back in March with the whole Chris Rock, Will Smith thing happened, everybody asked the same question: is it a work or is it a shoot? That's literally what happened. You know what I mean? And we couldn't conceptualize, this really happened. Like, this was not part of a movie. This was not part. So I think we've got to be able to recognize this is CM Punk. I don't know what question was asked, but if he gets triggered like that, where he feels like he has to respond when he should be talking about, I'm the new world champion. I mean, it is.
He was asked about it. And the clip we played is the one shot.
Is his response?
Punk. It's the one shot on Punk, but it's very important to know that Tony Khan is sitting right next to CM Punk.
Mm-hmm. Of course he is.
Yeah, he's right next to Punk, and he's kind of like looking and kind of like, like he's literally next to him. So as you see this new tweet from Sean Ross talks about a couple of talent. We're told that some very important names were pissed off, but they're going to walk out over this. Hey, man. People forget, but CM Punk's been wrestling for this 2022. So for almost 25 years, Punk's been wrestling. He's a lifelong wrestling guy. He knows what he is doing. He knows exactly how to blur that line and to get us talking.
But guys, I'm telling you, like, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
No, I think he thinks it's real.
You've got media here, right? And people are like, media's for media. It's not just wrestling media in that room. It's mainstream media as well. And so my thought is, if you are now the face of the company, is this what you want? Roman Reigns would never.
Oh, you can't.
Roman Reigns. Listen, WWE did a whole press conference after Clash at the Castle. It wasn't anything like this. It was professional. Did they talk about some things that you didn't expect them to talk about? Yes, but it was professional. The professionalism that is not shown from Tony Khan or from other folks is appalling. How do you
from the top down?
It starts from the top. So if the owner of the company is doing that, then why would the world champion feel like he has to do anything different? It's to me, I just sit back and go, okay, so you just sacrificed Jon Moxley to this guy, and this is how he deals with a situation that apparently, like, if all those things are true, and I'm not saying they're not, why? You're the world champion.
So apparently, this entire media scrum is almost like this. It's
a mess.
Is between apparently Toni Storm took a shot at Thunder Rosa about her injury situation, and somebody asked Tony Khan why he didn't call a switch on Swerve and Glory while Swerve and Glory sitting next to them, and it was just.
It's madness.
It's a lot.
Madness. It's because there's no professionalism. Like this is why we have 5-hour pay-per-views.
Look at the Matt Hardy tweet. G, you see this? This is after CM Punk's comments, obviously. Enlarge the picture with the Jacksonville. They're on the field. Who? I love it. We're going to get a 30 for 30. We're going to get a WWE DVD about the rise and fall.
Can we get to the end of this pay-per-view, please? We have audio to play.
All right. Well, one thing before I play. Well, I'm going to play this. You can talk over it before I play the audio. But so we got to the end. CM Punk won. This is obviously before CM Punk's media scrum. And we find out who, it'd be helpful if I actually go on the right page, who the Joker is.
Oh, yeah, and then there's the match that happened at the end.
Have been another additional 20 minutes though, but
it didn't have to be. It would have been a quick match because if they had done it right. Remember, he was barely getting off the ground.
Yeah.
But then the whole thing, we didn't need all that other stuff.
It would have been as long as the stare down, G.
Right. It would have been as long as the stare down. And then on Dynamite is where we should have got the voicemail. To understand.
Speaking of the voicemail, let me play the voicemail for you guys. Yeah. Thank you to Blue.
It's been a few months now, and your continuous, unexcused, extended absence is hurting the company, and it's definitely hurting the fans. And I know you don't care about the fans at all, but I do. So if you will show up at All Out, I am willing to swallow a very bitter pill for the sake of the fans. I'll put you in the casino ladder match. I won't force you to sign an extension, and I will pay you $. But you have to show up at All Out. This is my final offer. You're not going to get a better one.
And that would have been the thing he held over Tony Khan's head at Dynamite. Would have been brilliant.
Yeah.
Damn, Professor.
Professor G, you nailed it perfectly. That's exactly, because when it happened, it was like, okay, yeah, because the Joker winning the ladder match was done so perfectly,
right?
That it was just like, because we thought, because he faked out, he was like, oh,
right,
nope, I'm out,
right?
You know what I mean?
Right.
So him again being the master magician, revealing the tricks, being the guy with the lights go out, and then he appears to make CM Punk's title ring disappears in less than 30 seconds. I thought that would have been perfect, and you go home with that. It's something that nobody would have thought,
especially in Chicago.
I mean, they would have rioted.
Jeez.
Which would have been perfect for MJF's character. They would have had to drive him straight to O'Hare or to somewhere to a private area and fly him out of the city.
Exactly.
To beat the hometown hero, the salt of the earth. Like, they would have had to get my man out there. So it would have been very like when Seth cashed in on Brock and Roman.
Yes.
And even though, even though Seth was the Money in the Bank winner, we didn't expect that to happen at that time. No. I thought that would have been perfect. I agree, because the story was already there. So, The
only thing I was gonna say this earlier was the only thing that kind of messed it up was, I guess it's out of habit, but when he cleaned his shoes as the Joker, I was like, that's MJF. It was just like, I wish he didn't do it, because he does it every time. So that was just like the only thing that kind of messed up the ending for me. It was just like, so he wiped his shoes off on the side. I'm like, that's MJF. Yeah. He does that. Yeah. He's the only one that really does that. every time.
But maybe the Joker could have got gum on her shoes on the way. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's a situation. But all in all, it leaves with more questions than answers, and of course, we'll get in a lot
What's
of.
the name of his group?
Twitter. I know, because that's the thing. Like, it would have been awesome if Stokely and Ethan Page and the Gun Club and W. Morrissey came out. Obviously, W. Morrissey and MJF being together makes sense because remember he was the hired gun in one of the situations. So, what is this? Somebody's running out.
So apparently, security had to run out because there was some issues backstage, possibly amongst
allegedly.
This is insane. Or again, we are getting worked like a way never seen before in professional.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Don't say that. You can't get mad again.
I love it.
All right.
CM Punk versus Colt Cabana's mom at Revolution. Book it.
Yeah. He did walk a bit like MJF. You're right. He did.
Yeah. And I like how he came back out in the Joker gear, but just with the Burberry.
Right.
I was like, wow.
But I think about that, though. The Chicago crowd really started cheering for MJF, and even CM Punk was
massively.
He's like, dang,
massively.
That really? Y'all just flipped on me like that?
Now think about how much louder that would have been if he was standing there with the championship.
Hell yeah. Because I ain't gonna lie, I enjoy me some CM Punk, but my guy has been more like CM Jerk lately.
All right. Well, on that note, we have made it to the end. I was trying to. I wanted to keep it under. Yeah, I wanted to try to keep it an hour and a half, but here we are. I mean, just call us the other version of All Out AEW.
We had a lot of breaking news break. So
we did 8 hours of wrestling in 2 hours.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. See, Tony Khan, it could be done.
And I mean, hopefully I hope Tony Khan does take a page out of Triple H's book and really just kind of really tightens up the matches. There were some matches, I'm sure you guys all agree with me, there were some matches that could have not been there at all or could have been shortened a little bit, not for the sake of us who have to do post shows, because that's whatever, there's wrestling fans, it was just unnecessary. Like the fact that yesterday there was no, like Kane and I were talking about in the post show, Kane literally watched the show in a diaper because the show was so tight, everything was great, like there was no popcorn moments, there was no bathroom breaks, it was just a consistently moving show. As we can get the big pay-per-views, AEW and WWE, WWE's already on that, AEW on that list, then there'd be even more hype. So now you have a consistent show or concise show, and then you have CM Punk doing the scrum, which would make it even more entertaining. But we had to sift through some of these matches that we didn't necessarily need to talk about. With that being said, what do you guys think about everything so far?
What an amazing weekend for professional wrestling fans. A great wrestling weekend. Shouts to Ms. Valkyrie, Ms. Perazzo, and Ms. Green as well. Yes, indeed, Nikki. I think that this was a more memorable weekend for a lot of us. We were around for WCW, WWF/E. Well, it was still WWF by the time that it was brought out, and ECW as well. So to see major wrestling on major platforms like this, just wow. So shouts to all of us who sat through the last 20 years of just kind of WWE being dominant, because our patience is paying off, because we're getting a lot of action at us. So what a great time to be a wrestling fan. Great time.
True.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. An amazing time to be a fan, and to have a wrestling weekend like this and it wasn't WrestleMania, that speaks volumes. So, we got great wrestling all weekend long. So I love it. And we get a holiday, so we can now sleep in, recover and get ready for Raw. So
I'm feeling Blue and Professor Bonner wouldn't have been on the show with us tonight. To get some, or Monday would have been a work day. So shout out to Labor Day for sure.
And definitely. we also discovered tonight that the J in MJF stands for Joker.
We did.
Maxwell Joker Friedman.
There you go.
Joker.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely a great weekend, like you guys said. Enjoyed wrestling. Had a lot of time to watch some of the matches. There's some things I still need to watch tomorrow. But it's like you said, it's great. I always say it's a great time to be a wrestling fan because there's so much wrestling out there. I know a lot of people get caught up in like, this got to be better and this got to do that. I dislike this one. This is my company. Blah 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 blah. But at the end of the day, like the shirt says, just enjoy wrestling because there was a time when we had no other choices but WWE, and there was a lot of it that we didn't like, and we were just forced to watch. Now we have options amongst our hands, especially with internet. So
yes,
yeah, Blue. I'm happy you said that the shirt was the Just Enjoy Wrestling shirt and not the shirt we saw towards the end on Clash of the Castle.
Right? Who's getting fired for that one?
Ooh,
wow.
Nice.
What? I clearly multitask too much. What was that?
At the end of Clash at the Castle, somebody had a shirt that said, "I'm a better dad than Chris Benoit," and somehow that made it onto WWE television. I'm like, wow.
I kind of think that the whole Drew McIntyre and I don't watch boxing. Homie's name Tyson Fury. Yeah. That whole singing part wasn't supposed to be put on TV either. I think
that was a digital exclusive, I think.
Yeah, somebody slept on a button and would just let that rock. I'm like, my man, you just lost the title. Why are you happy?
Right.
Right. Why are you singing songs, Backstreet Boys and all that? Like, what are you doing?
Well, if it's the UK, it'll be like One Direction or something.
Right. Yeah.
Old school. Take that. Take something right.
Did you give your opinion overall, Kane?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, he was first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Clearly,
okay,
I'm delirious. And I still have to do work after this. Okay. Here we are. So we are at the end. Blue, where can everybody find you?
Everybody can find me at Blue Magic Glass Behind Sound. Also at For Your Aware. Make sure you follow at the Mixed Tag Show and follow my co-host Ms. Genevieve BAYBEE. We'll be coming back this September. We'll be dropping episodes again every week. And also, if you haven't followed us already for Your Aware, there's something where you get some of your favorite podcasters, t-shirts, and merchandise. And from some of your favorite indie wrestlers as well as we continue to grow. And that's about it.
And Professor Bonner, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at Bonnerfied on all aforementioned platforms, doing commentary for Southern Honor. We've got a big show coming this Friday, which should be incredible as we're getting ready for our 4-year anniversary. Then we've got September the 18th, Championship District Wrestling, September the 25th, Battle Slam, where we're crowning a brand new world champion. And, of course, you can check those things out on Fight TV, YouTube, and IWTV.
Boom. And Mr. K. McCoy, where can everybody find you?
Yeah, follow me at Kane McCoy, CAINMCCOY. Real quick, big shouts to our homies, Wrestle Chat with Friends, Megan, Cheats, E, everybody out there. And of course, you can also follow me on my burner account at Colt Cabana. I got some thoughts about tonight.
I bet you do. I bet you do.
So make sure you go and check out our website, www.talkpod.com. We have a lot of great articles, stuff that was talking about this weekend on there. So definitely go and check it out. We also have our show Turnbuckle Glam that was supposed to be today. It's going to be happening tomorrow. Nikki just put in the chat the time so I can say it. Other than that, WWT Live will not be airing tomorrow. Clearly, we are all just delirious from this weekend and we are taking a break. So we're going to start again on Wednesday, but that doesn't stop all our other shows that are happening for the rest of the week. So definitely go and check that out. Nikki is saying tomorrow, 5 p.m. after AEW Dark. So definitely check out our Turnbuckle Glam.
Before AEW Dark.
Oh, thank you. Before AEW Dark. So definitely check that show out. Turnbuckle Glam, fashion, and all that great stuff. Fashion wrestling, a great show that you should check out. Other than that, you can follow me on everything at TK Trinidad. Thank you so much for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Ciao, y'all.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.